Hi guys, I'm Brooke Brown from Teach Outside the Box. Welcome back. It is spring, it is March, and I don't know about you, but I am so excited for some sunshine and some beautiful outdoor recess days with my students. We are only a couple of weeks away from spring break here in Oklahoma, so I know that it is a busy and exciting time for me and my students, as I hope it is for you too. So I'm going to share my favorite March STEM challenges with you today. A lot of these have some St. Patrick's Day twist to them, but they can be used anytime during the month of March. Keep in mind these are going to be very low prep, easy for you to implement. I am actually teaching 2 of these challenges this week with my students, and I have not even prepped them yet. They are so easy that I can come in tomorrow morning and gather my things and they're ready to go for my students. So these are also going to be very easy to differentiate for kindergarten all the way through 5th grade. I'm going to show you all different kinds of science skills that you can hit with a single challenge, so they can make sure that they're very much appropriate for all ages that you are trying to impact. So my very first challenge that I'm going to share with you, and I have to say this is one of my most favorite months of challenges. If I had to pick all of my 9 months, what are my 2 favorites? Halloween, October challenges and my March challenges are by far my favorites. And one of my all-time favorite challenges is the wind-powered maze because it hits on so many different skills, huge for collaboration and creativity with my students. It's one that they have cheers of success at the very end when they are successful, which is always very rewarding for me as the teacher. So for the wind-powered maze challenge, you've been asked to design a maze for your school playground, and your students are going to construct a model of a maze. It has to have an entrance, an exit, and obstacles, and we'll talk about the science skills that they're going to hit on in just a little while. But then the best part is that they're going to use wind power. In this case, they're going to use a straw, a plastic straw, to push a marble through the maze, which makes it so fun to add those twists and turns and tunnels, things for their marble to go through, and different obstacles that they can use as well. So to kick off this challenge, you guys know I love using picture books anytime I can, and if I had to pick maybe my top 5 favorite STEM books, this is by far one of my favorites. It is called The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. This is a true story. It is written by William Kamkwamba and Brian Mueller, and it's actually the true story of William when he was a 14-year-old boy in Africa. He challenged himself to go to a junkyard and used engineering parts to engineer a windmill that essentially supplied water and electricity to his village, essentially saving his village from starvation. Truly remarkable story and a great way to kind of share with our kids the power and the importance of real-world engineering. And that's what the purpose of engineering is, to make our world better. And that's exactly what William exemplifies. He even has a TED Talk that you can share with your students to give him that extra connection to a real-world form of engineering. So that's a great way to kind of lead into the wind power element of this particular challenge. So I always start with that particular book. And then of course I share some real world examples with my students for mazes. That's always how I start off, kind of seeing where my students are with their background knowledge, kind of where I need to start with them or how far advanced they may be with a particular skill. So I show them some real world examples and we discuss what's similar and what is different. So in this case, these are some different mazes. And of course, your students are going to identify that most mazes have an entrance, they have an exit, sometimes they have those dead ends and those twists and turns, and they're already going to start being inspired and start imagining what their blueprints want to look like when they are designing their mazes for themselves. So we also connect that to types of wind power and how that's a useful form of renewable energy that protects our planet. And then for the older kids, we also tap into the balanced and unbalanced forces that we'll share in just a little while as the marble navigates through the maze. So we always want to prime our students' background knowledge whenever possible to set them up to be the most successful. And one of the simplest ways to do that is to share some short video clips with your students. So this one is called Maze Maker. It's going to show all different kinds of examples of mazes to kind of inspire your kids' creations, round mazes, square mazes, ones that turns in different ways. This is going to distinguish between balanced and unbalanced forces. That is a skill I recommend more for 2nd grade and up, kind of distinguishing between balanced forces that don't have movement and unbalanced forces that cause a change in speed or direction. Renewable energy, all forms of renewable energy and how they can benefit our planet. And then specifically, there's a video on wind power. So keep in mind, guys, your kids can use their devices to scan the QR codes and watch these videos themselves. Or if you would like to show them whole class, pull it up on an interactive whiteboard and you can just click the links and you can show and discuss them as a class. So we always want to tap into our students' key vocabulary, and these are the words you're going to want to introduce to your students before the challenge and refer to back to after the challenge. So obstacles, of course, some of your kids are going to know what obstacles are, but it's great to connect that to the maze and have them think of some different examples of obstacles they can incorporate in their maze. Friction is also an easy skill to incorporate because some of your students may want to build their mazes on the carpet, whereas others may try a table, and they are very quickly going to realize that friction is a power at work that is going to definitely change the way that marble moves. Balance force, as we talked about before, where there is no movement with their marble. Unbalanced force, where they're going to have a movement. So related to their mazes, this may be when your marble is stuck in a dead end or it's stuck on a particular obstacle in the maze. Unbalanced force is going to cause that marble to change speed or direction. As with all of my challenges, I have two different organizers for you to choose from. One of them is more appropriate for K through 2nd grade, and one is more appropriate for 3rd through 5th grade. So for K through 2nd, they're going to draw their blueprint of their maze. They're going to label the start and end. They're going to draw their different obstacles, and they're also going to circle if their marble went all the way through the maze from the beginning to the end. For the upper grades, they're also having to give examples, specific examples of balanced forces that are exhibited in their maze, as well as unbalanced forces. They're also going to list the obstacles and draw blueprints as well. So this is a very simple example of a wind-powered maze that I've constructed. Your kids are going to be more elaborate with this, of course, and you're going to give them lots of different materials to choose from. The wonderful thing about this particular challenge is that you can use pretty much anything in your classroom to create a maze with. So in this case, I have linking cubes. You can also use Unifix cubes. I give my kids the choice between wooden planks or Kiva planks. If you have plastic base 10 blocks, you can also use those, like base 10 rods or base 10 flats. Those make for great mazes too. Your kids can get creative with different types of obstacles that they include in their maze. You can also have different tunnels, different things that the marble can navigate through. Another bonus activity that you can add to the very end is that your students can trade mazes. They can bring their marbles and straws to somebody else's, and they can try to get their marble from the beginning to the end of this maze. So this is a challenge that I also like to use for professional development for teachers. It is a huge team builder and a big favorite. So also included in my March STEM pack are two other low prep STEM challenges that my students have used and loved for many years. One of my favorites is called Rainbow Bridge, and for this particular challenge, the leprechaun wants to keep his pot of gold safe and out of reach, so your students are going to construct a rainbow bridge that will hold the heaviest pot of gold without falling off. Again, this is a super low prep challenge that I can prep last minute. All your kids are going to need are Play-Doh, pipe cleaners, a mini cup, and some pennies to test the weight. So the engineering behind this one, you're going to compare different types of bridges. So keep in mind that there is not only one way to meet this challenge. Your students' creativity will blow you away for how they can get that, specifically that pot of gold, to balance on top of the bridge, how they can get it to hold the most weight, and ultimately they will be connecting it to the architecture of the arched bridge. And the final challenge in my St. Patrick's Day STEM pack is maybe one that you have tried before, but it has a little bit more of a scientific twist, and this is the Leprechaun Trap. So in this challenge, the leprechaun keeps trying to steal your gold, so your students will work in teams to construct a trap, specifically that has some simple machines that will lure him in and contain him. So kind of like the wind-powered maze, you can give students a huge variety of materials to work with as they are building. So linking cubes, pattern blocks, building bricks, wooden planks. Also throw in some paper cups and string so your kids can even create different forms of pulleys. They're going to construct some levers. They're also going to construct some inclined planes. How to Trap a Leprechaun is a great book to introduce this challenge and kind of inspire their different creations. And there's another one called How to Catch a Leprechaun. They love to kind of copy some of the designs in that book and use them in their designs. This is a wonderful challenge if you're looking for something to keep them busy and engaged right before spring break, as I know I am always looking for activities like that. And it's one that your kids will surely love and remember for years to come. I hope you love these March STEM challenges as much as I do. I know I'm anxious to get in my classroom with my students and try them out this week. I hope you have a wonderful beginning of your spring, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for joining me.